Welcome students. Today we will learn about Partnership Act of 1932. Let us move on and try to understand the laws relating to Partnership Act of 1932. This act came into force on 1st October 1932. Prior to the enactment of this particular act, it was embodied in the chapter 11 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872. A contract of partnership is a special contract where the Partnership Act is silent on any point. The general principles of the law of contract apply. Section 3. The Act contains 74 sections and extends to the whole of India, even including the state of Jammu and Kashmir as on today. The Section 4 of Indian Partnership Act defines the partnership as partnership is the relationship between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Persons who have entered into a partnership with one another are individually called as partners and collectively as a firm, and the name under which their business carried on is called the firm name. When we try to analyze this particular definition, it tells us that the order that persons may become partner, it is essential that there must be at least two persons to have a partnership agreement or to have a partnership firm. There must be relationship arising out of an agreement between two or more persons to do a business. Point number 3, the agreement must be to share the profit of a business. The business must be carried on by all or any of them acting for all. There are 5 essential elements of a partnership firm. What are those 5 essential elements? Let us look at those points. Point number 1, the partnership is an association of two or more persons. Point number 2, there must be an agreement entered into by all the persons concerned. Point number 3, the partnership is organized to carry on some business. Point number 4, the persons concerned must agree to share the profits of the business. Point number 5, the business is to be carried on by all of them or any of them acting for all. So this is something called as mutual agency. All these elements must be present before partnership can be said to come into existence. If any one of these elements is not present, there cannot be partnership. Each of these elements are very important to have a partnership firm. The next important component in the partnership is the partnership deed. The partnership is created by agreement. The agreement may be oral or in writing. The agreement can be inferred from the conduct of the parties. In India, this agreement may be oral or in written. It is in the interest of the partners as well as business itself that the agreement should be in writing. Through this agreement, the rights and duties of the partners are determined. This agreement is known as partnership deed. When the partners have decided to enter into a deed of partnership, it would be stamped according to the provisions of Indian Stamp Act of 1894. The deed of partnership need not be registered. It is not a public document like a memorandum of association of a company and only binds third party so far as they have notice of it. The partnership deed contains various provisions relating to various matters such as name of the firm, name and address of all the partners, nature and place of business, date of commencement of partnership, duration of partnership, amount of capital of each partner, profit sharing ratio, interest on capital, interest on drawings, interest on loan advanced by a partner to the firm, salary or commission payable to any partner, method of valuation of goodwill and other assets and liabilities in case of admission or retirement or death of a partner, settlement of accounts in case of retirement or death of a partner or dissolution of a firm. The partnership deed must not contain any terms which is in contravention with the provisions of the Indian Partnership Act. The terms laid down in partnership deed must be varied by the consent of all the partners. Let us try to understand various kinds of partners or the classification of partners and their liabilities. Point number one, actual partner is one who becomes partner by agreement and takes active part in the conduct of the partnership business. So he is called as a working partner or active partner. Dormant or sleeping partner. A dormant partner is one who is neither active nor known to the outsiders. He is also called as sleeping or secret partner. In reality, he is a silent partner in the firm and also contributes his share in the business, but he does not take active part in the conduct of the partnership business. Next, point number three, nominal partner. A nominal partner is one who has no real interest in the business. He is entitled to share the profits of the business. A matter of fact, a nominal partner only lends his name to the firm and his name is used in the firm as if he is an actual partner. It may be noted that a nominal partner does not contribute any capital and also does not take part in the conduct of partnership business. However, he is liable for all acts of firm as if he was its actual partner. Point number four, a partner by estoppel is one who represents himself to be a partner in the firm, but in reality he is not so. Sometimes a person who is not really a partner represents himself to be a partner and the person dealing with the firm believe him to be a partner. In such a case, he is stopped from denying that he is not a partner. Such a person is called a partner by estoppel or by holding out. Point number five, sub-partner. A partner is one who shares the profit of another partner. Sometimes a partner of a firm agrees to share his own share of profit with an outsider. In such cases, a sub-partnership comes into an existence between the contracting partner and the outsider, and such an outsider is called as sub-partner. In fact, a sub-partner is not a partner in the original firm. he has no right against the original firm. However, he can claim an agreed share of profit from the contracting partner only. Point number 6. Minor partner. A minor partner is one who is below the age of 18 years. It may be, however, be noted that a minor cannot be a full-fledged partner in a firm. He can be admitted to avail the benefits of an already existing firm. So these are some of the rights of the partner. So let me summarize all these various rights of the partner. The explanation is given on the slide in detail, but I'll tell the points in a nutshell. So first we will begin with a small brief of the relation of partners to one another. So before that, I'll give you a small explanation on this. The relation of the partners of a firm to one another are usually governed by the agreement among them. Such a partner may be expressed or may be implied from the course of dealings among them. It may be varied by consent of all of them, and such consent may be expressed or may be implied by a course of dealing as per section 11. When there is no specific agreement or where the agreement is silent on a certain point, the relations of a partner to one another as regards their rights and duties are governed by section 9 to 17 of the Partnership Act. So some of the rights of the Partnership Act, to tell you in a nutshell, is point number 1, right to take part in business. Point number 2, right to be consulted. Point number 3, right of access to accounts. Point number 4, right to share in profits. Point number 5, right to interest on capital. Point number 6, right to interest on advances. Point number 7, right to be indemnified. Point number 8, right to the use of partnership property. Point number 9, right of partner as agent of the firm. Point number 10, no new partner to be introduced. Point number 11, no liability before joining. Point number 12, right to retire. Point number 13, right not to be expelled. So these are some of the rights of a partner. Now we will move on and try to look at duties of partners. Partnership is a contract of utmost good faith. The partner must act with utmost good faith, as the very basis of partnership is mutual trust and confidence. According to section 9, which deals with the general duties of partners, partners are bound, point number 1, to carry on the business of the firm to the greatest common advantage, to render true accounts and full information of all things affecting the firm to any partner or his legal representatives. So some of the uh, duties of the partners are to carry on business to the greatest common advantage. Point number 2, to observe faith. Point number 3, to indemnify for fraud, to attend to duties diligently, not to claim remuneration. Point number 6, to share losses. Point number 7, to indemnify for willful neglect. 8, to hold and use property of firm exclusively for the purpose of the firm and the business. Point number 9, to account for personal profits. Point number 11, to act within authority. Point number 12, to be liable jointly and severally. Point number 13, not to assign his rights. Point number 14, duty not to compete with the business of the firm. Resolution of the firm, section 39 to 47 deals with the dissolution of the firm. The term dissolution stands for discontinuation under the Indian Partnership Act of 1932. The dissolution may be either of a partnership or of a firm. Section 39 of the Act provides that the dissolution of partnership between all the partners of a firm is called the dissolution of a firm. It implies the complete breakout of partnership between all the partners. Dissolution of partnership merely involves a change in the relation of partners, whereas the dissolution of the firm amounts to a complete closure of the business. Mode of dissolution of firm. Section 40 to 44 of the Partnership Act deals with the various modes in which a firm may be dissolved. A firm may be dissolved either with or without the intervention of the court. The dissolution of the partnership takes place in the following circumstances: by the expiry of the fixed term for which the partnership was formed, by the completion of the adventure, by the death of the partner, by the insolvency of a partner, by the retirement of a partner. There are certain cases there is necessarily a breaking up or extension of the relationship between all the partners of the firm and closing up of the firm by mutual agreement, by the insolvency of partners but one, by business becoming illegal, by notice of dissolution. Thanks for watching this video on Indian Partnership Act of 1932.